what you are doing in general. This is what this movement requires. This is central to the design of these 2 days, to find a way of working systemically, working participatively, and learning as we go in an emergent way. Now, the point about this, which I realize over and over in this work, is such situations are increasingly common. We increasingly have to, of us, are not skilled at working in a way which is systemic, participative, and emergent. Conferences and in our work. Okay. The second story is from Guatemala. Some of you I know have spent time there, Andre, if I remember correctly. It's a country which has the dubious distinction of having had the longest running and most brutal civil war in the Americas. 1 million people internally displaced out of a population of only 7 million. Peace treaty was signed in 1996, one of the great accomplishments of international diplomacy of the 90s, and Guatemalans started to work to put the pieces back together. If you want to talk about a social fabric being destroyed, not just separated, but torn up into pieces, it would be Guatemala. I've written a lot about that experience in Guatemala, but the main point about it that I want to emphasize in this second story is what I learned is that when we talk about working in groups, like you're doing here, what is the essence of that? What is the most basic talk and listen affects the results that we can produce? I have worked a lot with a woman named Betty Sue Flowers. Some of you may know her from Austin, Texas. She said, Adam, I'm so happy you're writing a book on different ways of talking and listening. Most people have distinctions in the feminine function. And it turns out that in doing this work over the next 2 days, this is what is crucial. What I noticed in working with the Vision Guatemala group is that their talking and listening passed through 4 stages. The first stage, when they first got together, the first hour of the first day, they were all literally sitting at different tables. You had the military people there, the guerrillas there, the business people there. And the organizer of the project, Elena Diaz-Pinto, said that, I'm worried that they're not what's in your pack, in your folder. This first kind of talking and listening called downloading. Downloading, I say downloading is not listening at all. I'm actually not listening to you. I'm watching your mouth, so when it stops moving, I can go back to giving you my speech. The afternoon of the first day, like your first day, people were talking, people were saying the usual things. And in debating, I say what I really think, you say what you really think. So the talking associated with debating is speaking freely, speaking honestly. But the listening associated with debating is the topic was the Civil War. And I remember one session where a general who had participated in a lot of the atrocities and was therefore very much on the defensive in this team was presenting his work, and somebody who was politically his opponent, secretary, from debating to dialogue. In debating, I say what I think, and I listen to decide if I agree with you. In dialoguing, I'm telling you what I think, but also where it's coming from, and I'm listening to you not. People told stories about their experience of the Civil War. And somebody told a story about having witnessed the exhumation of a mass grave arising from this body as a whole, from this group, from this system as a whole. I worked in South Africa when Desmond Tutu retired as the Archbishop of Cape Town. I did a workshop with his successor. And then a third bishop said, we must listen to the sacred within each of us. So I really became fascinated with this idea. What would it mean to listen to one another? Not just to wait for your mouth to stop moving, understand where you're coming from, but what would it be like in a group like this to listen to one another as if each of the things that were said were